What is going on, guys? This is Versus All Gaming with my review of Noragami Episode 5. And this episode, it definitely hit you with some feels. Like, that ending, it was definitely emotional. And we just got so much character development for Yukine in this episode. So I was definitely digging that. Like, overall, this episode, it was pretty good. I'm glad that Yukine is definitely developing as a character, and I do want to see more of that. But the episode starts off with Yato. He actually has this small, like rather cute phantom that he's holding up with his hand, and he's showing that to Yukine and Hiyori. And of course, their reactions, they are definitely, rather normal as they get kind of scared of it. But Yato was saying that, drawing a borderline is it's much easier to do with like fear or hate. And so now we learned that borderlines, they basically, are weapons for regalias. And not only are they a shield, but they're also, they're only weapons. Because only a god can obviously use them in their weapon form, so it makes sense. So now because Yukine did so well, Yato actually wants to teach him how to make these borderlines. And so basically all he has to do is make his fingers into a halberd. And then he has to, to draw a line. It's that simple. And we see that the first time that he actually did this, his borderline, it was actually powerful. And Yato was saying that out of all the regalias that he knows, nobody had made, a more powerful borderline than Yukine on their first shot. So clearly Yukine is definitely a powerful regalia, and I'm definitely glad that he's teaming up with Yato. So now we go to, the middle of the day, where they're all kind of like splitting up here, and we see that Hiyori, she actually wanted to take Yukine home so that, she could watch over him. Because clearly, Yato is definitely not a very good caretaker. And he also kind of like denied, or he didn't really come out with the truth about his relationship with Nora. So that right there is still kind of a mystery, because he said that they were friends with benefits. But that's clearly a lie. I don't know why he wants to hide this so much. But I'm definitely hoping that, it does come out into the open at some point, because I'm definitely curious about that. But we see that whenever Hiyori was pulling Yukine toward her, and you saw where his head was, and he was blushing, he was definitely having some like pervy thoughts. But that right there was just hurting Yato. And so of course, like to save himself from that pain, he was trying to get Yukine to like come with him, because that way he wouldn't have to worry about him, hurting like this. But of course, both of them wanted him to come with them, and so Yukine just chose Hiyori, which actually, kind of had me laughing at the way, Yato reacts. He just have these hilarious reaction to things, so I definitely like that a lot. But we see that Hiyori's house is actually pretty freaking huge, and when they go in there, we see that she actually has this housekeeper. But as we all know, people from the far shore, they are definitely hard to see. So her housekeeper didn't, even notice Yukine. But now Hiyori actually gives him, her brother room, and we all learned that she has a brother, but apparently he did not live there. But they had kept his room intact, because his room was actually pretty nice. I do want to see her brother actually. I want to learn about him as well, because why else would they actually bring him up if they aren't going to show the character at all? But I definitely wonder, why doesn't he live there? Like, maybe he's at college or something. I just want to know, what's going on with her brother. But we see when her parents come home, Yato was actually falling behind them. He was acting, rather devious, as when Hiyori's father got a beer, he was drinking one. And then when her mother, looked at them, it kind of looked like she had spotted Yato, but at the same time she didn't. But Yato said that she had sharp eyes. And you can tell that Hiyori, she was like planning all of this, because we see that after, like before her parents, came home, she was acting very victorious, as she was saying that everything was going according to her plan. But we see that Yato here, he actually came to watch over Yukine in some way, because we see that, or we learn that he's like afraid of the dark. And that right there, actually plays a major role in this episode, because his fear was definitely very important, and it definitely came out in this one. And so once Yukine was like taking a bath, we see that, he was getting really worked up, because this smell, it was very familiar to him. And so he had this thought about, Hiyori, being in here and using this shampoo. Now, it would have been hilarious that every time that he had one of these, perverted thoughts, that they had cut to Yato, because it would have been so much funnier in this episode if we just saw him in pain all the time. But I felt like if they did that, then that right there would have took away from the emotions that you should have felt coming off from this one. But once they're all in bed, we actually see that the Yukine comes to Hiyori's room because her father came into his room and he turned off the light. Because like we said, Yukine is afraid of the dark. But luckily, Hiyori, she's very nice, and she allowed him to come sleep with her. And Hiyori was definitely, kind of hands-on in this one. But I'm not sure if she did it on purpose or what. But we see that Yukine, he was like staring at her chest because I believe that, part of her bra was like exposed. He was actually, raising his hand as if he was going, to, touch her or maybe unbutton her top more. But before he could do that, Yato came in there and stopped him and took him out the room. So while they were talking, Yukine definitely has his doubts right now because he feels like that the Gato really doesn't need him, especially when he still has like Nora around. So that right there also goes to show you that he does have some self-doubts as well. But after that scene, we see this character that we have not seen before at all, and she had she was going against these phantoms, but she was riding on this lion, and we see that she has two regalias. And one of them took the form of a gun, and the other one was a whip. Because we all know that a god cannot kill a phantom without regalia. So I do wonder, what is she the god of? But this character, I definitely feel like she's going to be important, because why else would they show her? Though I do wish that they would have told us her name, because now I'm not sure what to call her. But I do know that she is definitely a god. So the next day they were out. Yukine and Hiyori is, and she was like in that shop buying things, and Yukine found like some glove I think it was that he wanted, but when Hiyori was actually offering to buy them for him, he was like telling her no, it was okay and he'll just borrow stuff, because he actually took the skateboard and we're gonna leave with it because like they said, it's pretty hard for people to actually notice them, so he could take whatever he want really. And so now he's going to leave with that, but Hiyori actually stopped him because even though he claimed to be borrowing it, she was saying they were still wrong. And when she put the skateboard back, he actually ran off. And so now he had went to some shop. I forgot what it was, but I believe it was like a game store of sorts. And he was like watching these kids playing. And it was definitely funny when like Yato went down this kiddie slide and caused all these little kids to start crying. I don't know why they were crying, but that right there was just hilarious. But now time was like passing on, and we see that it's getting dark now, and we know that Yukine is getting scared of the dark, so he started running off. If he want to get to some place that that still has some light, but we see that he passed by this little kid that was actually crying in an alley because she wanted her mother, and we see that Yukine is the only person that can see her, and she would ask him if he could see her. And that right there, caused her to like run up to him because people had been ignoring her all this time. And then we see this sign that had like these flowers in front of it that told us that a little kid died by a hit and run. And that girl, that was her right there. So that right there was like definitely sad, that we had this like dead little kid here. But at least she had Yukine by her side. And both of them were like scared of the dark. So they had went to some park, I think it was, where they had sat on this bench under this street light, and it was like flickering on and off, which like caused both of them to be scared. And that right there, what's funny in some way, because Yukine, even though he tried to play this like guardian role, he like even he couldn't shake this fear. But now this girl kept going on and on about her mother, and about how when she get there, Yukine should get in the car with them. But he said something that that really upset her, that her mother wasn't coming. And so now that right there caused her to leave, and she went into the darkness where these phantom were. And of course they were always trying to get her, except this time Yukine had used a borderline, which was like pretty freaking awesome. I definitely like that. And I thought everything was going to be okay, but it turns out that this girl, even she was possessed, and that right there was like definitely sad because I really did, want this girl to be safe. I wanted her to be protected. I didn't want to see her be consumed by a phantom, but now she had became one with all those other phantoms, so it was too late for her. And then you see, the real form of it, which was like some kind of monkey, I guess. I'm not really sure what would you, call that, but it was definitely some kind of like primate or something. But after this phantom had tried to crush him and Hiyori, because she actually did, find him, we see that Yato has taken him from being crushed, and Yukine was still kind of like sad by what happened to that girl. So he actually wanted Yato to save him, and we see that he gets Yukine to change it to his weapon form, and he was like fighting this phantom. But when Yukine had figured out that Yato was actually gonna kill this phantom, which of course would have killed the girl, you could see that it shook him up so much that this was the first time that we have seen Yato struggling so far. And so Yukine didn't realize that by her being consumed, then she'll be in like a hell for all eternity. So they had no choice. And then we see when Yato was like finishing off this phantom, we see that in Yukine's mind or world, whatever you want to call it, we saw the girl run toward him. So at least he actually did save her because he set her free. So that right there was definitely good. And I definitely like the animation, where Phantom dies, because that right there is just so freaking epic and cool. But then at the end, we actually have that woman that we saw earlier. She was like in a spa bath or something, and apparently, she has somebody watching over Yato, and they saw him kill that Phantom. So this woman, I'm guessing we'll see her and Yato in the next episode, which I'm definitely looking forward to. But this episode overall, like I was saying, it was very good, very emotional. Like the feels in this for that little girl and Yukine, I definitely liked that. I definitely liked the feels because it really got to me. Because I did want to see that girl being safe, like I said. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe because that really helps me out. And as always, you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.